As you look out from the commentary position in Oak Hill Cricket Club, County Wicklow, you can see a misty look to proceedings. Unfortunately, it's covers on at the moment. We had a nice morning, no rain until about a half an hour ago, but just in the last few minutes, a little bit of misty drizzle is coming off the sea on the east coast of Ireland, and we might just have a delay here. But welcome anyway to this interprovincial trophy match in Oak Hill Cricket Club in County Wicklow, match between Munster Reds and Northwest Warriors, and with me here Isabel Joyce to join in the proceedings.
Well, it's the two bottom place teams that are facing off, so they'll be desperate to get this game underway as they try and chase Northern Knights, who are on 12 points. Leinster Lightning way in front with 20 after 5 games played. Munster Reds just slightly in front of the Northwest Warriors. They're on 7 points before today's game, and the Northwest Warriors on 6. So they are the two bottom place teams, but they can make some ground up if one or the other wins today.
And with team news so far, Munster Reds have announced their, and they've left out Jack Dixon, who's replaced by Sean McNichol, and Zubair Khan is the 12th man. So Harry Dyer gets another opportunity to play in their starting 11. For Northwest Warriors, unfortunately, Shane Getgate was in the nets this morning and felt some spasms in his back, so unfortunately he can't play today, but he is hopeful of being involved in the 50 over game tomorrow. So change for them is that Liam Doherty comes into the side, and they'll be captained by the vastly experienced Andy McBride. Northwest Warriors just slightly ahead, or slightly behind the Munster Reds on the table, but this a match that both sides simply have to win if they are to have any ambitions of catching the runaway leaders, Leinster Lightning.
So we will take a break now, and hopefully we'll be back with you before too long with some cricket to be played. It's not heavy rain here, so once it stops we're hopeful we can get straight out onto the pitch, but do stick with us, and we're hoping for more cricket very, very soon. Well, we did tell you to stick with us here in Oak Hill because it was such a light rain, and it seems to have eased off. The umpires are happy to go out in the middle. Azam Ali Beg and Johnny Kennedy it is who are striding out to the middle, and Munster Reds, they won the toss earlier and they elected to bowl first. So it'll be Northwest Warriors heading out with the bat in hand, and great to see the umpires so keen to get cricket played. Nice early match here in Oak Hill. There'll be more cricket later on up in Stormont. So plenty to be following along. And then there's World Cup cricket as well. So a plethora of opportunities to watch some cricket. I'm Isabel Joyce. Stephen Alkin will be alongside for today's match. We do have more cricket here tomorrow as well, as these two sides face off in the IP50 trophy. This is the IP20 that you have here. So as I said, Munster Reds won the toss and they will bowl first. Captain Joshua Manley will no doubt be taking the new ball with Liam McCarthy. They've been a consistent opening pair. Stephen Doheny, I think it is, will be taking the first ball of the game. He'll be keeping as well, and Gavin Ralston at the non-striker's end. Good work from Aidan Seaver. He said to the groundsman, I think this is as good as it's going to get. Take the covers off, got the stumps in, and we're going to have cricket straight away.
Well, being a Wicklow man myself, I can tell you that the weather is often like this on this stretch of the east coast. We're only a few miles from the sea, and what we're getting is a little bit of mist off the sea. And oftentimes just inland the weather is perfect, but on the coast you get this misty drizzle. It's not so much rain as just that
Moisture.
coastal effect that comes off the Irish Sea. Still quite cool at this time of the year.
Yeah, it is quite chilly. I think it's probably chillier up here. We're right up on top of the hill looking down on the view that you're getting there, which is quite an incredible scene to watch cricket from. Liam McCarthy starts off.
And my shot backward of square, beating the man in the deep, and a good start from the Northwest Warriors. Straight away a boundary for Stephen Doheny.
Yeah, full wide, and the field is has a backward point in position, but that's probably the shortest boundary in the ground, and placement was good. There's a slip and a kind of a fly gully in position, but managed to beat that backward point and gully between them. First boundary off the first ball.
McCarthy steaming in, and it's a much straighter shot this time, and it's beaten the fielder out in the deep. That's Carson McCulloch. 2 balls, 2 boundaries. You couldn't ask for more.
Well, 2 full again from Liam McCarthy, and he beat Carson McCulloch in the deep on his left hand side first, and that time was even better on the right hand side. He did make a good effort but couldn't quite reel it in.
You were here on Sunday for the match. That was the start of the Evoke series, and the pitch, you said, played quite slow.
Yeah, it was. I think it was the second match in the competition, but the first game down in Leinster, single for Stephen Doheny. But yeah, you have to pitch the ball on the deck to get that slowness, so we haven't seen it yet. But yeah, it's a little bit tennis ball-y. It holds up from a good length. It's really quite difficult to play. But if you bowl in any way short, it sits up. So that's the information. I'm sure the guys from Munster Reds and Northwest Warriors will have been speaking to some of the players from Sunday and checking things out.
So maybe Liam McCarthy just trying to pitch it up a little bit too much so far. Wouldn't be surprised if we see a shorter delivery this time. And there it is. Just what you were saying. That balloon effect.
Well, it had good carry though. I think that's probably quickened up from Sunday a little bit. I know that Dale McDonough, who's now the groundsman here, they didn't get as much time ahead of the season as they would have wanted to prepare the pitch, so they're kind of playing catch up, and I expect this pitch to get better as the season progresses. But even just the last few days, maybe he's had an opportunity to, along with his ground staff, to improve things.
It's certainly been dry since Sunday, that's for sure, until this morning's mist. Better ball, well pitched up, played into the covers, no run.
Yeah, it's quite hard to score down the ground on a pitch like this. So that's why the two fielders out are cover and square. The short fine leg and short third in position. No mid on.
Yep, just two fielders on the leg side saving a single inside the circle. And that's turned nicely to the man in the deep. Off the mark, Gavin Ralston with that single.
Oh, one over gone, and Northwest Warriors are 10 without loss.
Solid start for them. The left-right combination will make it harder for Munster Reds, who are going to start from that far end. Josh Manley will open the bowling for them, as he always does.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that left-right hand combination, Stephen, because this opening bowling pair, while they have taken plenty of wickets, they have bowled lots and lots of wides. So the left-right hand combination certainly won't help with that as they look to continue the season with a bit more control. Just having that Irish cricket season problem where you have to get the sun off your sunglasses. The rain off your sunglasses.
Yes, it is not just drizzly here, but also chilly. Cool wind coming out of some part of the north.
Well, that's the kind of length that I was speaking to you about, where it's just short of a length, on the fuller side of a good length. It just holds up, makes it difficult to score. Can't play through the line with any kind of confidence. Yeah, it's a 2-coat day. How many coats do you have there, Stephen?
I think I've got half a coat, really. But I wore the cords, the heavy cords. They help to keep the legs protected. Seems crazy in June, but that's the way it is.
Oh, wow.
Misfield there, down at backward point by Carson McCulloch, and that's another boundary for the Northwest Warriors, who are trundling along here, hardly trundling, galloping.
Oh, real disappointment you could see on the body language of the Munster Reds teammates there, as this one was hit nicely, good power through it, but Carson McCulloch really needed to roll there, because the difficulty is when you're running at that pace and then you try to bend down, you often don't get down in time. That's what we saw just then. Army roll would have done better.
A little touch there, definitely came off the shoulder of the bat, but it didn't carry through to the wicket keeper, so a little bit of a life there for Gavin Ralston.
Yeah, no foot movement, that's the problem, but I don't think that counts quite as a chance. Didn't quite reach. Played with soft hands, so I managed to take some of the pace off the ball. So Josh Manley, good return after getting hit for that boundary with the misfield in the deep.
Quietly played, backward of point for a single. McCarthy moves to pick it up, and it's a single. That'll take Ralston to the non-striker's end. Score goes to 15 without loss.
Well, I think that first one that he edged surprised him with the bounce. Gavin Ralston, he was ready for it that time around, so got into a better position and just punched it into the space for a single.
This opening power play, of course, always important that the batting side gets off to a quick start. Just two players in the deep, so plenty of spaces to attack. Doheny with 9 runs from just 3 balls faced. And that's a good single. Yeah, he was home. Straight to McCarthy at backward square leg, but they took the single. Good running between the wickets there by Ralston.
Yeah, as soon as that hit the bat, he set off. Good awareness. It's very difficult to pick up quickly and release and hit the stumps from that position without the non-striker being able to get home. You're probably more likely to hit at the non-striker's end, but the extra 22 yards makes a big difference in terms of how long it takes the ball to get there. Ralston on strike again.
Oh, miss hit there off the inside edge and just missing the leg stump. Good end to Josh Manley's first over. Just 5 coming from it after 2. The score is 6 coming from it. 16 for no wicket after 2 overs.
Yeah, especially a good comeback after that misfield early in the over. Sometimes the wheels can come off when something like that happens. You get frustrated as a bowler and back it up with a poor delivery. But Josh Manley, well, he always plays cricket with a smile on his face. He would have shaken it off very quickly. So good second half to the over.
Change of bowling here for Munster Reds. McCarthy's first over going for 10 and straight away the skipper making the changes, and it's going to be young Sean McNichol who will bowl the third over. Right arm over the wicket, medium pacer. Field looks to be the same, although the slip is out this time. And a watchful Doheny lets that go through to wicketkeeper Metcalf.
Azam Ali Beg is the umpire you're seeing signal that wide. He's at the Dublin City end. Or the umpire for today, Johnny Kennedy, he's at square leg.
First extra of the innings, I think. Oh, crack through mid-off, good shot. Slightly over pitched, and Doheny just waited for that. His third boundary.
Was really full, this one from McNichol. Great balance from Stephen Doheny. Big gap there between mid-off and extra cover. Oftentimes when it's a slow pitch, the fielders will go a little bit wider, but mid-off hasn't come with extra cover, so massive gap between them. And I think that maybe Munster Reds overthinking it somewhat about this pitch. Just bowl good areas that it's...
And another smash, this time a little bit squarer, but right through the covers for 4. Doheny really looking in the mood. 18 now from just 6 deliveries.
Good footwork. Just stayed leg side of it to make sure that he could beat the fielder at extra cover. Ali Metcalf is calling for a lid. He's going to stand up to the stumps for maybe just Stephen Doheny, maybe for both of the batters. But Sean McNichol has replaced Liam McCarthy, and the woes have continued for Munster Reds as the runs seem to keep flowing.
Well, Azam Ali Bag was just looking at the skies. The mist has increased in intensity just a little bit, coming straight into our faces. And so for poor Sean McNichol, who hasn't got a lot of experience at this level, he's bowling into that breeze, which isn't helping matters. Better delivery that time. But the single taken to the man at third, who's inside the circle. Good running again by Northwest Warriors.
Yeah, what I was getting at was I think they're overthinking the length. They maybe spoke a little bit too much about it, Munster Reds, that talking about the pitch and we need to bowl this length, we need to bowl that length. Whereas if they just bowl a normal good length, I think that's the right length on this pitch.
Yeah, just short of a good length, and the ball will get a little bit out of the pitch.
That's much better from McNichol. The last 2 deliveries have been the best by far.
Ralston moves to 7. Doheny on 19, 27 in the third over. It's a great start for the Warriors.
Well, I think as well they know there's rain around. Are we going to get a full 20 overs each side? Chances are not. So it's important that they attack straight away, and that seems to be the mindset. Stephen Doheny does tend to set off like he's got a plane to catch, but yeah. Can he make a pretty big score today?
That's slashed away, not off the centre of the bat, but it doesn't matter. Backward of square for another boundary to Doheny.
Yeah, flayed away, just threw the hands at it. Another wide delivery. I think that was more under control than I'd initially thought. Almost 6 runs, and it's going to be some retrieval going on. What you can't see is that there's a big hill on the other side of the ground. There's a big drop off there. That's what creates such an amazing view from this ground. Somewhere that it's quite beautiful to watch cricket from.
On a sunny day, at
Even
least.
on a non-sunny day, but you want to be in the clubhouse, I think.
Yeah.
Still beautiful, whether it's
Well, it's a
whether
great
it's warm
position
or
for
not.
us because we're well up above the field of play. Oh, that's a good hit. Didn't quite carry. One bounce and another boundary for Doheny, who is scoring at an extraordinary rate here. He's at 300 at the moment.
4 boundaries in the over. 2 full, and didn't even look like he tried to hit that too hard. I think that was the key. He was happy to lift it over the field as it mid-off, mid-on. 19 from that over, and after 3, Northwest Warriors are 35 without loss.
It's going to be interesting to see what Josh Manley decides to do, having taken McCarthy off. His first over went for 10. Poor Sean McNichol has been facing the sword of Northwest Warriors. Very expensive first over for him.
Well, I think we can expect another change in the bowling. He might just go back to McCarthy and put the pressure on his senior opening bowler, and he's going to continue from the south end.
Another beautiful shot. Stepping into it, Ralston, and punching it through the covers where there's plenty of gaps. Shortish boundary over on that side.
This is a beautiful stroke. Shot of the day for me. Stood tall, hit it on the top of the bounce, timed it perfectly. Just haven't quite got it right here, the Munster Reds.
I think we need ball boys down there.
Get the coaching staff around there in the rain to man that boundary.
Nikolai Damgar, who's fielding at wide mid-on, is warming up as if he might be coming on to bowl his little off breaks.
Don't think you can call anything that Nikolaj does little, can you?
Well, that's true. Tallest man in the Munster Reds team, that's for sure. So coming round the wicket now, Manley to the left-hander. And it makes no difference. Slightly edgy, but it's away for another boundary. Ralston joining the party. He goes to 15 off 11. Doheny 27 off 9.
A little bit streaky, this boundary, but good use of the feet. And that movement in just takes it into the hitting arc of Ralston. Not a bad delivery, but manages to find the gap. So slip will come out, and they're going to have a third and then a backward point on the ring, and then point on the boundary as well. Very wide extra cover.
Good news is it's just a little bit brighter now. That drizzle has just about stopped.
Well, just as I was talking about the change in the field, Frost has come back into slip here.
And that's played straight to the man in the short third position inside the circle, Liam McCarthy. So no run that time. A rare dot ball in this inning.
Well, there have been 6 boundaries in the last 8 balls, which is incredible hitting.
It's good to watch. Not so good if you're a Munster Reds supporter. But there's a long way to go in this game. .43 for no wicket in just the 4th over. Plenty of space there, but just a single to the man in the deep. Carson McCulloch.
3 left arm spinners in the Munster Reds team. Nikolaj, we already mentioned Nikolaj Damgaard, but also Mike Frost and Carson McCulloch. So once we get outside the power play, we'll see plenty of left arm spin. That's what the Munster Reds will be looking for now. Just get out of this power play, but there's still over 2 overs in it, and they're staring down the barrel of 60 or 70 in the power play.
Manley back over the wicket, turning it to McCarthy. Another quick run. Super running again by Ralston, who's on his bike even before the ball comes off the bat, I think.
his anticipation's great. He watches Stephen Doherty very closely. As soon as he sees that he's going to play with the hip, he's already got his skates on. So he was home with no problem. Even if that had hit the stumps, I don't think there would have been any decision to make for Azamati Beg.
Ooh, that one beat the outside edge. Lovely ball from Manley. A rare moment of joy coming for the Munster Reds at the end of the 4th over.
Yeah, this one just held its line, and yeah, Ralston I think expected it to come in a little bit more. So after 4, Northwest Warriors 45 without loss.
10 off that last Manley over. He has none for 16. Now the question is, yes, it is going to be Damgar who comes on from the camera end of the ground, the pavilion end.
We started calling it the Dublin City end.
Really?
Yeah, we decided the Dublin City end and the South end.
Can't keep the dubs out of anything,
no,
can
exactly.
you?
They have to be mentioned at all times. We can't call anything the Wicklow end because we're just in Wicklow, you know?
Well, the far end would probably be the Wicklow town end.
Okay. Well,
that
should we
okay?
change it to that?
The far end. This end,
Yeah.
you can call this whatever you like.
Wicklow town end. Okay, I'm writing it down. Which means it's in stone. Nikolaj Damgaard, the tall left arm spinner, doesn't really look to turn it too much. He'll bowl pretty decent pace, and from his height, he does make it difficult. Deep mid wicket and long off, all right.
Full toss, brilliantly stopped in the covers by McCulloch. So just a single this time to Gavin Ralston, who moves to 16.
There's Stephen Doherty, in fact. So Ralston will come on strike now. Change in the field as it's long on that's out for the left-hander. Deep mid wicket still out as well.
Five in the ring on the offside. Just 2 saving a single on the leg side. Very watchful off the pitch there was Gavin Ralston. Oh, good delivery.
Yeah, I think if you
Good length.
watch that one again, you'll see how Damgaard doesn't try to turn it. That's actually almost swinging away, and very good bounce as well. So Ollie Metcalf behind the stumps just had to wear that one on the chest.
Nice shot. Watch that very carefully. Bit of a half volley and a slight misfield by McCarthy will mean an extra run for Ralston.
Yeah, not easy conditions out here. There's quite a lot of moisture on the ground. Stephen Doherty took the first one quickly, and upon turning he saw the slight misfield, and that boundary big enough he knew he could beat the throw in.
Slashed away, but finding the gap between those 2 fielders behind square inside the circle. So a little bit of good fortune that time for Northwest Warriors.
That could have gone anywhere, couldn't it? He gave himself room, took the outside edge, and a bit of luck meant it plopped right in between backward point and third.
Well, Damgar has certainly stemmed the flow. First 5 deliveries going for just 4 runs. And he beats the bat of Doherty. So a really good over from the Dane. Just 4 coming from it, and after 5 overs. 49 without loss. Northwest Warriors striking at just under 10 and over.
It's the 2 opening batters still out there in the middle. Doherty was the aggressor to begin with. Ralston a bit more watchful, but he's catching up now. 19 from 18 for him. Doherty, though, going at over 229 from 12. And 4 bowlers used so far. Damgard easily the best. He's only gone for 4 runs. Manley doing a decent job as well. And it's going to be another change in the bowling as Mike Frost, another left arm spinner, comes on from the Wicklow Town end.
You're catching on. Well done. What field will we have for Mike Frost? Different examination this for Gavin Ralston, who's batted very well. Very much the second fiddle though to Steve Dohney with his 29 from 12 deliveries.
Yeah, 5 fielders saving 1 on the offside. Long on and deep square. Had the 2 fielders out. So pretty much exactly the same field as we would have seen for Damgard, but it's a different type of left arm spin that we're likely to see. Like Frost bowls more slowly through the air.
And that's uppish, but finds the gap. Lucky break again for Ralston and the Northwest Warriors. Get a couple of runs this time, so the 50 is up in the 6th over. 51 without loss. Ralston goes to 21.
Well, there's that tennis ball bounce we were speaking about. So a little bit short there from Mike Frost, and sits up. You really need to either get up and under the ball and try and hit it over the infield, or else get right on top of the bounce.
Yeah, good start from Mike Frost. Spinners love to see batters hitting the ball in the air, even if it doesn't go to hand. Shorter that time, but Ralston unable to find the contact there, and it's through to wicketkeeper Metcalf.
Well, that was very close to hitting the stumps. So Ralston just taking a second to reconfigure his thoughts.
Final over of the power play, of course. And that's good bowling too. Ralston thought about coming down the pitch, but outfoxed by the length of Mike Frost.
Not easy conditions for a spinner out there. Mike Frost just trying the ball. It's only going to get worse as the game goes on, unfortunately.
Shorter, and crack through the gap just behind square. Great boundary that from Ralston. Watched it very carefully. He goes to 25 and the score to 55 without loss. Just 1 ball left now in the power play.
What a sound off the bat from Ralston. Gave himself room, and the wrists through the shot as well. The placement was perfect. 5 fielders trying to cut off the single there, and he found the gap between cover and point.
Wasn't a bad delivery. It was on the stumps, maybe a bit short though. And that's Fuller, and punched to deep mid-on for a single. And that's the final action of the power play. And a great outcome for Northwest Warriors, who after 6 overs are 56 without loss. Dohney on 29, Ralston catching up on 26.
Well, it is a good power play for Northwest Warriors, but it was looking like it was going to be a whole lot worse for Munster Reds at one point. After 4 overs, Northwest Warriors were 45 without loss. They've dragged it back somewhat, with just 11 coming from overs 5 and 6. So the 2 left arm spinners coming on earlier than they would have probably planned, Munster Reds, but needs must. And Josh Manley turned to his most potent weapon in his left arm spinners when the need was there.
So plenty of chats between the captain Manley and the bowler Damgard. 4 men out now, of course, once the power play is over. Deep cover, deep mid off, deep mid on, and mid wicket.
The 5th fielder going out as well, deep square.
So just 1 in the circle on the leg side, so lots of gaps out there for batter Ralston, and he just plays it down to McCarthy at deep mid on for a single.
Well, he's got to just keep on trying to get hit into that leg side now, Damgard. So much space on that side of the pitch, but the job will be to try and keep the Northwest Warriors from running twos. They'll be happy to go at 1-ball.
Off the pan, and a big shout from bowler and wicketkeeper. But Azam Ali Beg was not convinced.
Well, I think that was crashing into the stumps. The problem was that Stephen Doheney got an inside edge on it. Damgard is absolutely disgusted. He needs to keep a hold of his emotions here, because you can't behave like that as a bowler. You get into trouble very quickly with the umpires.
Little snick to backward point, and another single for Ralston, who's had the lion's share of the strike. 26 deliveries to him, just 13 to Doheney. If there's one thing Northwest Warriors might try and do, is get more of the strike for the man who's got 30 off 13. Turned into the gap at mid-wicket.
Well, Ralston scored the majority of his runs in the second half of those deliveries he's faced. I'd wager he's scored about 20 off the last 12 or 13 deliveries. So both batters going at a decent rate now. He did struggle a little bit early on in his innings, Gavin Ralston.
Oh, was there an edge there? Thought I heard something, but it's a wide in any case. So another run added to the total.
Run rate's 9.15 at this point. So something Northwest Warriors will be pleased by.
Well pitched up in the air. And the catch isn't taken. What a let off. And Northwest Warriors getting all the breaks so far.
I was in the air for what seemed like an age, and Mike Frost, he watched it all the way down. I think if there was any criticism, it would be he just didn't get his hands up quickly enough. Only raised them at the last second, and that meant that he was trying to take the catch quite low in front of him rather than up above his eyes. So a life for Ralston.
And every run he scores now will be like a dagger in the heart of the Munster Reds. The end of 7 over, 64 for no wicket. Ralston on 31. Doheney still sailing along. And there is that catch, or that drop rather. Like you say, he got there all right.
He did get there, but he was still moving when trying to take the catch as well. So it wasn't an easy one. You generally want to be stable underneath a high ball, if at all possible. So you need to sprint under it, then get the hands up nice and high. And it was just that little bit too far away from him, it seems. So Munster Reds, after 7, they've conceded 64 runs, and that would have been their first wicket had it been caught.
And obviously that's their number one priority, is to break this partnership, get a new batter in, try and get on top of the game. Liam McCarthy's going to come on now from the Wicklow Town end. Just his second over. First over went for 10. And plenty of pace and lift on that one. Good delivery.
Yeah, he's still managing to get some shape away from the left-hander as well. And Gavin Ralston almost just floated the bat out of that one. No real conviction in the shot at all.
Yeah, one thing we noticed from McCarthy was pitching the ball up a bit too much in that first over. That one very much back of a good length. Plenty of life in this pitch, if you put it in the right spots. And there it is again. Great delivery.
Yeah, lovely length and good carry. That one slamming into the hands of Ollie Metcalf behind the stump. Something you like to see as an opening or a seam bowler.
Well, Liam McCarthy, always been a very competitive cricketer. Loves to attack the game. And there it is again. Ralston quite short and unable to get to those lifting deliveries. I know our graphic at the bottom of the screen says Mike Frost bowling this over, but it is Liam McCarthy, I can assure you of that.
Unless Mike Frost turned into a right arm seamer. His left arm spin and right arm seam, that would be quite something. He's looking to pull that ball, is Gavin Ralston, but with the swing moving away from him, he should probably look to play it through the offside.
And another. Plenty of encouragement from the fielders now. Munster Reds feeling like the breakthrough is imminent.
I think they'll be pleased just to see a few dot balls in a row. That one moving away a lot. He's changing his length up well, Liam McCarthy, so keeping Gavin Ralston guessing. Ralston can't line him up at all.
And this one a little bit uppish, but he'll get a single out towards point and off the strike. Ralston after a torrid few moments there. Can McCarthy finish off this excellent over? That's the question, against Steve Doherty, who's been starved of the strike.
Well, he'll be glad
right
to
down
be
to under 9 now.
Yeah, exactly, and even under 8.5. Ralston was completely squared up on that last shot. Seems to be really struggling with that ball moving across him. I'd be delighted to be down the non-striker's end, even though there's only one delivery left of the over. So it's just about what Stephen Doherty does now. Does he look to score a boundary? Does he just try and turn the strike over for the next over?
Well, Doherty was moving to the offside before that ball was delivered and just plopped it into the space at mid-wicket to get the single, keep the strike. 32 for him, 32 for Ralston. 66 without loss is the score. 8 overs gone.
Yeah, just 2 in that over, so a really good comeback from Liam McCarthy after his first over went for 10. He seems to have found some kind of rhythm from the Wicklow Town end, and things brightening up here as well at Oak Hill. Some of that rain seems to be holding off and getting a little bit more pleasant out here in Wicklow.
Yeah, it's a big week of cricket at Oak Hill. On Sunday we had an Evoke Series match, which was quite a high scoring affair, and then tomorrow these two sides will play again in a 50 over duel. Nicely struck down the ground, but cut off by McCarthy, so just a single that time.
A good looking strike from Steve Doherty. It's quite a long boundary down towards the commentary position here. So Liam McCarthy coming around to stop it and even managed to keep it to a single. So things really slowing down here for the Northwest Warriors.
Oh, a reverse sweep, beautifully played to backward, and it's another boundary to Ralston, who takes the lead on 36, Doherty on 33.
Well, have a look at these wrists as he plays this shot. Whips it through and manages to get the elevation required to send it over third. He beat that fielder in backward point, short third, by a long distance. And that was very quickly to the rope for another boundary.
And that one's just punched to mid-on for a single. Doherty to 37. Ralston to 37 rather. Doheny on 33, back on strike.
Well, the first 4 overs of this innings went for 45. The second 4 for just 21. So Northwest Warriors will be keen to get that scoring rate back up where it was.
Damsgaard doing a good job here. Entrusted with the ball when things were looking pretty horrible for the Munster Reds, and he's managed to bowl some quite tidy overs.
Sure.
But that one is absolutely smoked over the boundary for the first maximum of the innings. Gavin Ralston up to 43.
Just shimmies across, and this is the problem with left arm spin against left-handed batting, because you're bowling into their hitting arc. Ali Metcalf recognises that he should be the one taking down the left arm spinners, gets the elevation again, and it's going to be another search for the ball on the road down there. Almost doing hill sprints when you're playing on this ground sometimes, because the ball goes over that boundary so often. A really good looking strike, and the good thing for Ollie Metcalf as well was the direction. He got it right between the two fielders in the deep, so even if he hadn't got all of it, it would have been a boundary.
Well, we said it was brightening up, but again the misty drizzle is blowing across the ground from the far end to the camera end. Pitched up and punched to deep mid-on. McCarthy the fielder, 1 run to Ralston, and an expensive over this time from Damgard, 14 off it, 27 coming from his 3 overs, 26 rather, and 80 for no wicket after 9.
The umpire's just coming together now at this point, because after I said it was getting brighter, it's now got a bit darker, and I think we're going to have a break, unfortunately. Umpire Johnny Kennedy and umpire Azam Ali Beg have decided it's got too heavy. The ground staff are running to the covers. They didn't expect to be called on, but the players will make their way off because it has just got that bit too heavy out here in Oak Hill.
So there's the situation after 9 overs. 80 for no wicket. Northwest Warriors making a fantastic start. Probably thinking that a score in excess of 180, somewhere between 180 and 200, should be their target today. Doheny not out on 34 of just 17 deliveries. Ralston has taken 37 to make 44. Just 2 extras. And there's the bowling.
Yeah, 5 bowlers used so far. Damgard was good up until that last over that went for 14. Frost, just 9 for him, although one of those overs was McCarthy's. So McCarthy came back and bowled a good over that just went for 2. No wickets from all 5 bowlers as of yet, and that's what's cost the Munster Reds. They haven't been able to stem the flow of runs, as all the bowlers have been pretty expensive.
So with this rain delay, we're going to take a short break. Hope you can rejoin us when we resume play. It shouldn't be too long, I should imagine. And gladly, that little rain symbol on the score sheet at the bottom of your screen is now defunct, because we're coming back to play again here in Oak Hill. Northwest Warriors on 80 for no wickets after 9 overs. Munster Reds desperately looking for a breakthrough. And the good news is that the delay so far hasn't affected the number of overs in the match.
Well,
I was talking to the umpires, and they were saying, because even though there's only one match here today, and often there's 2 matches on the same ground on the same day, there is a cut-off time, and the same rule has to be applied in every situation so that the competition is fair. So the cut-off time for this match is 2:40 p.m. and the reduction of overs for another delay would probably kick in if there was another stoppage.
Yeah, and I think the Northwest Warriors will be the ones that are the most pleased by the fact that there's no reduction, because they weren't too happy about coming off. I think that the problem was that it had actually cleared up a little bit, and then suddenly the rain came back. So it's not that it was heavier than it was earlier in the innings, it's just that there was a stop and then a start again. So it's a time when you really feel for the umpires, because it's such a difficult one to figure out when you should or you shouldn't come off, especially when it's that kind of mizzle that we've been having. But they've got to try and protect the surface. And one of the things that is interesting is that even though there's a game here tomorrow, they can't take that into consideration when they're deciding on things for today. So they can't say, okay, we'll reduce it because we want to make sure that the pitch is okay for the match tomorrow. They have to just judge things on how they see it for today's game.
And there is another match today, but it isn't here. It's up in Belfast, when the top 2 sides in the Interprovincial 20 League meet. Munster Lightning going to Belfast to play the Northern Knights. And
Ali McCalmont has assured me that it's not going to be raining and it's not going to be cold up in Stormont, so I hope that's true.
And Ali knows everything, so he must be right. This is Sean McNichol coming in for the Munster Reds, his second over. And a quick single taken again by the Northwest Warriors, whose running between the wickets has been exemplary so far.
Well, he spotted Josh Manley sitting right on the edge of the ring there at extra cover, so just dropped it into the offside and knew it was an easy single, just cantered through. Good awareness from the left-hander.
For those of you joining late, have a look at the number of balls faced by these two. They've been together since the start, but Doheny has faced just 17 deliveries, Ralston 38. Doheny's last 5 scoring strokes have been singles after a whirlwind start. Oh, there was a hit and a miss there. That's encouragement for McNichol, who beats the outside edge.
Yeah, I think there was an edge there, but it just dropped short of Ollie Pope because it was a slower delivery. I often wonder now, when back in my playing days, we used to have a signal to the wicketkeepers that we were going to bowl a slower delivery. But yeah, something like you itch your knee or something. And but they bowl so many of them now, I think it's just the wicketkeeper's expected to be ready every delivery.
Just trying the paddle sweep and put the wicketkeeper off. Metcalf unable to stop that, and a bye will go into the scorebook.
I'm trying some innovation, but it was another slower delivery from McNichol at the back of the hand. So, while there is some contact,
that might have been a drop catch, actually.
Nutmegged Ollie Metcalf. Not Ollie Pope, he's plays for England. So Ollie Metcalf has had to deal with a couple of slower deliveries. I think it could be a good idea if these two have a chat before the next over about when there's slower deliveries, so that Metcalf can take a few steps up.
Well, this is McNichol's first over from what we're calling the Wicklow Town end. And that was a quicker delivery, and he got a bit of lift and movement. Good delivery, that one.
There's a lot more effort in that delivery, wasn't there? Movement away from Ralston. So he's keeping the batters guessing, and after his first over was expensive, he went for 19.
Wow.
Yeah, went for 19. He's only gone for 2 in the first 4 deliveries of this one.
Another quick single taken by Doheny, scampering through, even though it went straight to the fielder. But some encouragement for the Munster Reds as we resume play following that rain delay.
I was at the game that was on here on Sunday, and a couple of the seamers did somewhat like what we're seeing from Sean McNichol here, which is to bowl as many, if not more, slower deliveries than pace on.
Well, that was a bit of a strange one. Seemed to come out of the back of the hand almost.
Yeah, it was a back of the hand slower ball, but he didn't get it right, and that can be the difficulty with the back of the hand slower ball. It's finishing it off at the end. It can be difficult on the shoulder. Not everyone can do that skill. And certainly the older you get, the less likely you are to be able to affect that skill.
And another single taken, this time by Doherty, as we come to the end of the 10th over of the innings. The halfway mark, 85 for no wicket. Doherty on 36, Ralston on 46, and a much better over from McNichol, whose 2 overs have now gone for 24. I haven't checked the stats, but I venture to suggest this might be the biggest opening partnership of this series so far in 2024.
Big call. I'm sure we'll get some messages in. If we don't, there's only the 2 of us here today, so we can't be running off and checking the stats. If there's another rain break, maybe.
Yeah.
We can check what the highest.
McCulloch is going to come on.
Oh, yeah, another left arm spinner for the Munster Reds. Oftentimes in T20 teams in particular, you want the 3 different types of spinners: off spin, leg spin and left arm spin. But Munster Reds, well, they have 3 of one type, but they are all somewhat different. And there's plenty of blue sky here, which is a welcome change here in Oak Hill Cricket Club.
Sun coming out for the first time today, even if it is a little bit watery. Oh, good stop by McCulloch, as Doherty tried to punch that one down the ground.
Yeah, same field as the other left arm spinners: long off, long on, deep mid wicket, deep square, and cover out.
Full toss, miss hit, and Damsgaard takes the catch at wide mid on, and the breakthrough has come at last. Doherty out for 36, 85 for 1. McCulloch coming on and making the breakthrough, and maybe the sun beginning to shine for the Munster Reds.
Well, just typical, isn't it? Because Doherty, he's been striking it so well, gets a poor delivery and catches it high on the bat, doesn't make clean contact. He's frustrated. He has been starved of the strike somewhat. 36 from 22 for him.
Oh, a great moment for young McCulloch, just 19 years old, getting his opportunity to play for the Munster Reds. Originally from Northern Ireland, but his first wicket in the Munster Reds colours, and at last this partnership is broken.
Yeah, this is that wicket dance down. It was high above the eye line and he just didn't get hold of it. Picked out Damsgaard, who did well to get there. He's got the big mitts all the way around it and grabbed on. So new batter Scott Macbeth comes out to the middle, and that rule about crossing in the middle no longer relevant. He will face, so the new batter is supposed to face the next delivery, so he'll be facing up to McCulloch.
And that's played quietly into the onside for a single.
Bit of a spring coming into the step of Munster Reds fielders. They feel like that's made a shift, a big change in the game. Doherty was so explosive up the top of the innings.
Yeah, he was scoring at 300 at one point, 27 off his first 9 deliveries. But as often happens, things slow down after that. Shorter delivery, easy punch into the onside for Ralston, who's now the senior partner of this partnership.
He's really changed his pace, hasn't he, this over? Carson McCullough. That previous delivery was much quicker and flatter, and that one he took the pace right off.
Ralston again taking a very quick single. Love to see batters backing up, especially in 20 over cricket. It's so important to take every run you can get. And that was shorter and seen all the way by Ralston. And that moves him to the magical 50. No, it doesn't. It was 49. Now it's 48. Well, he's nearly there.
Well, the scorers had put down a 2 there. I think they've gone back and switched things around. So just the 4 from that over. And Northwest Warriors 89 without loss after 11.
And Sean McNichol will continue from the Wicklow Town end. Bowling to Ralston on 48. Down the leg side and signalled a wide.
Some gamesmanship there from McNichol. He thought about turning around and appealing to umpire Johnny Kennedy, see if he could maybe get away with one there, but didn't touch any pad or glove or bat, so it's a wide.
On a wonderful comeback by McNichol in his second over to just go for 5 runs after his opening over went for 19. Pushed into the covers, quick single from Ralston, he goes to 49, bringing Scott Macbeth back on strike. Great platform this for the Northwest Warriors. Without Shane Getgate today, one of their big hitters who picked up a back spasm in the nets this morning and is being held back for tomorrow's 50 over game. But plenty of big hitters in the team. Nicely played by Macbeth, not quite off the middle.
Well, the danger here is Northwest Warriors haven't scored a boundary in a while. They don't look like they're trying to either. So if they have a few quiet overs here, overs 12, 13, 14, then they'll have to catch up a lot at the end, because they'll want to, after the start that they had, get up to somewhere around 170, 180. And they're a long way off that at the moment. Last few overs have gone for 4 and 5.
McNichol round the wicket to Ralston on 49. And a great ball played straight back to the bowler, so he'll have to wait for that half century. Great to see a bit of brightness around the ground. It's such a fabulous view from our position here across the fields of County Wicklow. And there it is, a well-deserved half-century for Gavin Ralston. His 50 coming off 45 deliveries. Some great hitting. I think that's 5 fours and a 6 in this knock so far.
Dropped on 28. Gavin Ralston making the Munster Reds pay for that misfield in the deep. Mike Frost it was who grasped that one.
Oh, and that one beats the outside edge. Macbeth not quite sure what kind of a shot he was going to play and ended up playing nothing.
He seemed to be a little bit surprised by that bounce. So we've seen that on a few occasions. Ralston was surprised by some steep bounce from Liam McCarthy earlier in the innings as well. So it is somewhat two-paced, this pitch.
Good over so far from McNichol. Can he finish it off? Punched a little uppishly to mid-on for a single, but a very good over from McNichol with 4 off the bat and a wide coming from that last over. 12 overs gone, 94 for 1 the score. Macbeth is on 4, Ralston on 50.
It's taken to the 12th over to take their opening wicket. Munster Reds have toiled hard. They went around the ground early on, but pulled it back somewhat. 9th over went for 14, but aside from that, ever since the 4th over, Munster Reds have managed to reel this game back.
So Carson McCulloch to continue from the pavilion end. Full toss, but not dispatched. Macbeth with another single, starting his innings with 5 singles. Come on the Reds is the cry from the players out there in the middle. Short ball, straight to backward point, this time no run.
Yeah, he hit that one too well, didn't he? As soon as he hit it, Ralston, he knew there was no single. Straight to point, usually one of the best fielders on the pitch as well.
Yeah, he'll feel he's let 4 go away there. And this time it's down the ground and McCarthy is there and the catch is taken. And it's a double breakthrough for the Munster Reds. A second wicket falls. Both of the openers out. Ralston, eyes widened by that delivery, but couldn't beat the fielder, and he's out for 50. And it's 95 for 2.
Well, those dot balls in the previous over, Sean McNichol should be able to claim an assist there, something we're missing in cricket, because that pressure that was applied by the previous bowler has meant that Ralston felt the pressure to score a boundary. Just all he could do was lift it into the waiting hands of McCarthy, who came in from long on, and he made sure he almost lay down under the ball there.
5 fours and a 6 in that half century for Ralston. And it's the big hitting Cameron Melly who has come to join the party, batting a little bit higher than he usually does. And he's a player who is capable of scoring very quickly.
It's just one of those things that happens when you have an opening partnership, that, like we saw, 81 for the first wicket. So they've promoted Cameron Melly, and this is why he's out there, never close enough to that delivery, and actually played across it as well. Did Ralston, and there it is, the lie down under the ball. That's not one you teach, but effective, obviously.
Another good delivery from McCulloch. Look at those figures in the context of this match. 2 for 5 in his second over is exceptional bowling.
Quick thinking that from McCulloch. Much quicker delivery, just not quite on target. Another inch or two to the right, and that would have been the 3rd wicket for him.
Little stutter in his run up, and that was short and down the leg side and turned round the corner for a single. So Melly off the mark.
He'll feel like he missed out there, Melly. Down leg side. I think it just took the glove, so he's almost taken the pace off the ball for the Munster Reds, because that could have easily gone to the rope had he missed it.
Lovely delivery, just moving away from the right-hander, and that's another fine over from McCulloch.
Yeah, lovely left arm spinner's delivery there. Just drifts in and turns a tiny bit too much to take the edge. Beautiful stuff. McCulloch, 2 overs, 2 for 6. And after 13, Northwest Warriors 96 for 2.
And now the sun is properly out here. We're almost at the stage where we might be able to take off one of our layers. That would be good.
Steady. It is much brighter. You can really see the hills in the distance now. They were somewhat shaded by the mizzle that was covering County Wicklow when we arrived. Turning into a much clearer day. Liam McCarthy replaces down at the Wicklow Town end.
Nicely cracked behind square, but McCulloch is there. They go for the second run though, putting pressure on the fielder, and that's Excellent running again by the Northwest Warriors. Melly with a couple to take his score to 3. Macbeth on 5.
I have to say, I'm surprised they took Sean McNichol off. He had one over left. I thought he was doing a really good job. And they've obviously decided to keep one of his overs for later on.
Ooh, good delivery. Just beats the wicket keeper. McCulloch again involved. He seems to be everywhere at the moment.
Well, you say it missed the wicketkeeper, it just about missed the stumps. He was so close to his stumps there. Played it late. He wanted to play it down to third, but he's almost played it straight onto his stumps there.
Well, Munster Reds encouraged by the fact they've got 2 fresh batsmen at the crease. Scott Macbeth on 5 from his 7 deliveries. Full toss. Again, it's straight down the ground, and I think that's Damsgaard at deep mid-off. Three of the fielders in the deep for McCarthy are on the offside.
He's going to change that field now because fine leg's going to come up and mid wicket's going to go back. So deep square and mid wicket are the 2 fielders out on the leg side.
That one slashed away backward of point, easily beating McCulloch at third. So a welcome boundary for the Northwest Warriors, who haven't had one for quite some time.
Yeah, clears the front leg here, does Melly, and throws everything but the kitchen sink at that one. Fielders didn't really move on the offside. They knew that had found the gap. 100 up for Northwest Warriors in that previous delivery, so they'll be 104 now.
Still plenty of overs remaining. At least 21 deliveries. More adjustments in the field.
And just see Andy McBrien at the bottom of the steps to the right here. I think he's itching to get out there at this point.
Oh, that's come off the edge, and that's not going to carry. And it's another wicket for the Munster Reds. After getting none for so long, they've got 3 in quick succession, and the breakthrough from McCarthy makes it 100 for 3. Melly out. Caught in the infield for just 4.
Well, I think that we're slightly behind on the score there. I think it's 8 because he scored that boundary, didn't he? But he looked to repeat the dose, and a fuller delivery straight and on the stumps meant that he didn't have the space to play through the offside. Ballooned up and extra cover. Brandon Kruger it was. He took the catch, an easy one, as they lose their third. 104 for 3 now, the Northwest Warriors. And Cian Hilton comes out at number 5 for them.
So McBrien being held back, and Cian Hilton, one of the new players in the Northwest Warriors squad this year, from Cliftonville Academy.
Yeah, he tried to play that one through the offside. It was, I think he would have been better served playing through the leg side, but he felt that he had better chance over the infield and the offside with the 2 fielders back on the leg. So 104 for 3 now, Northwest Warriors, and Munster Reds clawing their way back into this one after they found the Northwest Warriors at 45 without loss after just 4 overs.
And 85 for no wicket after 10. So it's quite a turnaround. And that's a good delivery from McCarthy, screaming for an LBW. Though nobody else was looking for it, and 2 runs have come off that. Leg buys, so there was no contact on the bat, according to umpire Johnny Kennedy.
Yeah, good running between these two. They immediately recognised that there was an opportunity for a second. They set off very quickly for the first, and Liam McCarthy was too busy appealing to go and field that one. He was the closest man to it.
So the end of the 14th over. That latest from McCarthy, going for 10, but he got the wicket. 1 for 20 for him off 3. And it's McCulloch who's going to continue from the pavilion end. So far he's done really well with his left arm spin. There's a good hit. That's going to clear everybody. No way Alistair Frost could get under that one. And a maximum for Scott Macbeth.
Long languid swing here. It stands nice and tall. Right through that one. Beautiful to watch. Change of the field. Mid wicket goes out.
2 for 6 in his opening 2 overs and none for 6 in the first ball of the third.
He pulled the length right back there and it just died on Scott Macbeth. It looks like he's decided it's time to get going. But that one dying outside off, so just about manages to reach it and make sure that it doesn't go through to the keeper.
Hilton facing his first delivery at the far end. Well, Munster Reds, having turned this match around, they really do need to keep it tight now for the next couple of overs. Good respect shown by Cian Hilton on that first delivery from McCulloch that he has faced. Oh, that's a top edge and it's going to go straight to the fielder at backward. And it's another wicket for the Munster Reds, and Hilton is out for a duck, having faced just 3 deliveries. 4 for 113 in the 15th over. And what a turnaround since the rain delay. It's been quite extraordinary.
Not an easy pitch to get in on, and after a couple of dots, Hilton just looked to help that one around the corner. He goes for none, and Northwest Warriors 113 for 4. And he just looked to play that shot on line, and that extra bit of bounce that we've seen on occasion, it's kind of held in the pitch a little bit, that delivery, and taking the top of his bat, ballooned up for 45. And Sean McNichol, well, you don't get many easier catches than that one. Jared Wilson now striding out to the middle at number 6. He will have been relaxing just a couple of overs ago, thinking that he was pretty safe at the clubhouse, but now he finds himself out in the middle with wickets tumbling for Northwest Warriors. Yeah, that one actually straightened up from McCulloch as well, and he almost pulled out of the shot. So Cian Hilton, an innings he'll want to forget as slip comes in now.
Yeah, just 2 out in the offside, 3 on the leg side for McCulloch. And an easy single there, which gets Wilson off the mark. That run rate down to 7.7. At one point it was pretty close to 10. In fact, it was over 10 after 4 overs. That's thumped away, but straight to the fielder at backwards square. And just a single. This is just what the Munster Reds would have wanted. Another good over from McCulloch. Another wicket for him. 3 for 15 off 3. And there's the card. Doheny starting like a train. Ralston getting that 50, but then getting out. And Macbeth and Wilson having to reignite now this Northwest Warriors charge.
Yeah, 5 overs remaining. Plenty of bowlers to choose from for Manley. He's got 2 himself. Frost has only bowled 1 at this point. I think he was probably expecting McCulloch to only bowl 1 or 2, but he's bowled so well. He's been the pick of the bowlers so far. 3 for 15 for him. And McCarthy has 1 as well.
Mike Frost coming back on at the Wicklow Town end to bowl to Scott Macbeth, who's the senior partner now for the Northwest Warriors, who have 5 overs left and will be hoping to get at least 160. Beaten outside the off stump by that quicker delivery from Frost. Clever bowling.
Well, you can see Scott Macbeth he looked so relaxed at the beginning of his innings, but the situation has changed so much since he arrived out at the crease with the team on 81 for 1.
Short delivery, straight to the fielder at cover, another quick single taken.
Yeah, that fielder in extra cover is right on the edge of the ring, so it's always a single pretty much to him. You can see that line when he bowls wide outside off stump, Mike Frost, the pitch just looks a little bit dead. It's not coming on at all. Those last 2 shots from Macbeth looked like a real struggle.
And some more conversations between Josh Manley, the skipper, and Mike Frost will mean an adjustment in the field.
Yeah, this is interesting. So I think this is because of what I was just speaking about. He's going to bowl wide outside off because the pitch is a little bit dead out there. So he's dropped cover point and square leg has come inside the ring.
Quicker delivery. And quickly onto it was Metcalf to prevent the run. It's good cricket this from Munster Reds. They could have dropped their heads at 80 for no wicket, but they've really stuck in the game. And that's wide, even wider than wide.
Well, that's what I was talking about though. He's going to try and just play around inside that wide line. That can result in a few more wides being bowled. No margin for error.
Well, that looked like one to hit, but no contact from Jared Wilson.
Yeah, it was a really slow one. He was through the shot far too early. Another change in the field. Point comes in, square out again.
Just 2 deliveries left in this 16th over. And that looked wide as well. And signalled as such.
He feels a bit aggrieved there, Mike Frost. It did turn quite a lot, so it's obviously turned outside the wide line according to umpire Johnny Kennedy.
Easy single down the ground for Wilson. He moves to 2. Score to 119 for 4. This is where Northwest Warriors really need to take the initiative. Running out of overs. Attempted reverse sweep didn't come off for Macbeth. Well taken by Metcalf, and the end of Frost's second over, which have gone for 11 runs. Tidy over that, despite the 2 wides.
Yeah, just the 4 runs in that over. So after 16, Northwest Warriors 119 for 4. They're going to be recalculating what they think they can get to at this point because it's really slowed down. They did get 10 and 9 in the 14th and 15th overs, but they lost wickets in those overs as well. Nothing slows down a run rate like wickets. So McCullough bowling his 4th over.
Hit and a miss from Wilson. Looked like it was there for the taking.
I think he just took his eye off the ball, which is because he didn't expect it to turn.
Yeah, his head came up a bit. And this one is outside edge, and it's another wicket for McCullough. Definitely man of the match country for him. 4th wicket for him off for just 11 or 15 runs rather, and a really good spell of bowling. And another disaster for the Northwest Warriors as Wilson gets out for 2, and it's 119 for 5 now in the 17th over.
He definitely had enough of watching the bowlers bowl at him. Wilson goes for 2. And the frustration you could see from Macbeth as he ran past Wilson and that catch was taken is because he keeps on seeing his partners lose their wickets. Marcelo Pete now from Brigade CC will join him at number 7. And I wonder if it's a case of Macbeth just asking the new batter, can you just get me on strike? Give the number 3 batter for Northwest Warriors the opportunity to try and hit the runs. Take outside edge. Another easy catch for Brandon Kruger.
Marcelo Pete, who plays with Brigade. Another player with not too much experience at this level. McCulloch on 4 for 15 with just 5 deliveries remaining in his very tidy spell.
It's quite incredible to watch the weather down here in Oak Hill, because it looked clear in the distance. Now we can barely see the hills.
Bad sign, because the misty drizzle is coming our way, unfortunately. It looks bright and cheery, but hopefully that rain will stay off long enough for us to get to the end of this innings. Single there for Pete gets him off the mark.
Yeah, it would be good if we can get this 20 hours in before another rain break, or if the rain doesn't make its way here at all.
Shorter ball, high and handsome and towards the pavilion. Big 6 from Macbeth. Probably McCulloch's poorest ball of this spell.
They're really short, and on this pitch it just sits up and says hit me. So Macbeth obliges, and that one went way over the boundary rope, almost up to the clubhouse here in Oak Hill.
And this one's straight down the ground, but Damgar will be able to cut it off, but the misfield will give an extra run to the Northwest Warriors.
Well, it was an interesting one, because as soon as he started running there, Pete didn't look like he wanted to come back at all. He just jogged down the non-striker's end, and a double misfield from Damgard meant that he decided he would come back for the second. Should really be working as hard as he can to get his senior partner on strike.
Big gap at mid-wicket. McCulloch does the fielding himself, just the single to Macbeth, who moves to 24. Pete on 1.
Well, I think we're missing a dot at the beginning of that over. There was a dot first ball, so 10 runs in the over and the wicket, and after 17 Northwest Warriors are 129 for 5.
And what a spell by McCulloch. 4 for 25 from his 4 overs. He's turned this game around for the Munster Reds in no uncertain terms. And it'll be Josh Manley coming back now from the Wicklow town end for the last 2 overs. One suspects from that end. He's gone for 16 off his first 2 overs. So 3 overs to go. Scott Macbeth will certainly have a go. No question about that.
Yeah, he's the one that needs to do the bulk of the scoring for the Northwest Warriors. It's good bowling from Josh Manley, though. Bowls a short wide one which can only be hit out to the sweeper on the offside, and this is the man that Manley will want to bowl to. Marcelo Pete coming out at number 7 for Northwest Warriors.
The mizzle has returned, I'm sorry to say, sweeping down the ground towards us.
With a vengeance.
I think the umpires, though, will be really keen to try and stay out there for this 2 overs and 5 balls that are left of this Northwest Warriors innings. Man, oh, that's up in the air, but it's beaten the fielder inside the circle, and it's going to run away for 4.
A really costly one, a no ball as well, that from Josh Manley. I think he's jumped from 2 wide here. Yeah, back foot is crossing the outside line as he looks to angle it into Pete, and all he had to do was get something on that. 4 runs.
Yeah, it certainly looked like he was bowling from a long way wide of that crease. This is going to be a free hit for Marcelo Pete. Managed to just fend it off for a leg by.
He's very close to that line again, so something he'll need to be mindful of. There's lots of mizzle in the distance, unfortunately, but there is quite a wind today. Hopefully it gets blown off pretty quickly. Macbeth back on strike. 25 from 18, 12 of those runs from 2 big sixes. So he has accelerated in the second half of his innings.
Yeah, it's only 2 boundaries have been maximums. Yet to score a 4.
Well, so what we were fearing has happened. The rain has just got too heavy. And, well, Johnny Kennedy and Azam Ali Beg were keen for this innings to come to a close. They can't in good conscience keep the players out there. They have to protect the surface as well. So we're going to have another rain break. Not certain. It depends how long this is, but we could end up losing overs. It might be the end of Northwest Warriors batting innings, but we won't know that until the umpires decide that the rain delay is over. But I don't think it'll be too long. So don't go anywhere, because we will be back before too long with the resumption of play. And hopefully we'll have either the end of this innings or a good run chase on our hands for you to view. So we'll see you before long.
Welcome back to Oak Hill. The rain has gone. The score for the Northwest Warriors, 136 for 5 off 17.2 overs, and because of the rain their innings was declared over. So we're going to have a bit of a bash here because the Munster Reds will have 5 overs to score 53 runs, and hopefully we'll get an outcome. Nice and sunny here now in Oak Hill.
Yeah, well, if you're wondering why it's only 5 overs but plenty of time left in the day, it's just the competition regulations, and as Stephen Alkin, who's alongside, said earlier, the conditions have to be the same for every game, so there is a window of time that they're allowed to play in, because it'll be bright here till very late tonight. There could be cricket played, and there will be cricket played in Stormont this afternoon, but there is a limit, and the cut-off time was 2:22 here this afternoon. And the other thing you might be wondering is why weren't we out a little bit more quickly? It's because some rain got on the playing surface. So keeping an eye on a couple of wet patches out there that we're hoping won't misbehave. All going well, we should get the 5 overs in, and Munster Reds requiring 53 from 5 overs for victory. 5 bowlers will be used, each getting 1 over to see what they can do. And should be an entertaining few minutes of cricket.
It sure should. It's Marcelo Pete who's going to open the bowling from the Wicklow Town end. And he'll be bowling to Alistair Frost, who's out there in the middle with Brandon Kruger. So fast and furious stuff. And here we go.
Whoosh.
And a nice bouncy delivery to start with.
Well, that one's gone straight past Alistair Frost, who's done well to get out of the way of it.
1 for the over. Marcelo Pete, who scored a few runs at the end of the Northwest Warriors innings.
Deep backward point and deep square leg are the 2 fielders out. No catchers in place.
And that's gone up in the air and it's straight to mid-off. And it's gone down. Well, would you believe it? Andy McBride, one of the most experienced players in this match, has put down the catch, which would have given the Warriors a breakthrough in the first over.
Well, this has gone so high in the air. He's able to get to his ground, Alistair Frost, before this was dropped. Just misjudged it in the end, Andy McBride. It is quite high up this ground, the swirling wind, so it can be quite difficult to take those high catches, but he would have expected to take that. Usually such a good catcher, Andy McBride.
Pretty quick bowling from Pete, fended off by Frost, and it's gone all the way for a boundary.
He's dealt with that really well because it's steep bounce. And with 3rd inside the ring, an easy boundary for him.
So 30 deliveries, they need 53 runs.
The change in field.
6 already on the board after 3 balls.
Sorry, change in the field. Backward point comes up inside the ring, 3rd going out.
That was close to the bat as Frost tried to give himself some room.
Close to the bat and close to the stumps. He's backing away here because it has been some uncomfortable bounce in this over so far from Pete. And that one going over the top as Frost tries to figure out the best way to get through point, because that field has come up. He wants to hit a bit more square than that previous boundary.
Well, that's a great hit. Straight down the ground for a maximum. Frost with his 2nd boundary. Good start for the Reds.
I think this has worked out well for the Reds, this 5 over bash. 2 full from Pete. Looking for the wicket. Over pitched, and Frost holds his shape beautifully and doesn't bother running because that was 6 all the way from the bat.
12 off this over. Just 41 runs left to win.
Well, the fielder at mid-on has gone over to see if he can find the ball, but Aidan Seaver, the third umpire, preempting things. He's come down with the box of balls just in case he's needed. The weather's come in so quickly here that we don't want to waste any time about getting the 5 overs done. It's looking clear at the moment, but you just never know here at Oak Hill where the weather can change in an instant.
Well, great start for Alistair Frost. 12 off 5 deliveries, a bit like the start that Stephen Doheney gave to the Northwest Warriors earlier today, when he had 27 of his first 9 deliveries. Top scorer for them was Gavin Ralston with a well-compiled 50. But the turning point of the game was probably the rain delay, because after that McCulloch came on to bowl and took 4 wickets in his 4 overs, 4 for 25, to hold the Northwest Warriors to that total of 136 for 5, which in the DLS method has translated to a target of 53 off the 5 overs remaining. And you were explaining earlier, Izzy, about the rules. Of course, there is another match today up in Belfast when the Lightning and the Knights will be in action, coming up in about an hour's time. And even though there's not 2 matches on the one ground on the one day, they still have to have the same regulations for every single match, and that's why there's this 2:40 cut-off to proceedings on this match. Which seems crazy, of course, when you look at the bright afternoon that we have unfolding here, but every match has to be played in the same rules and regulations, otherwise the competition wouldn't be fair. So that's why we have to finish by 2:40, and why there's only 5 overs for the Reds to get to this total.
Well, after some searching, we are going to get the final delivery of this expensive Pete over bowled. Barring any extras, that is. Every time I say it's the last ball, someone bowls wide. But he needs to get out of this over, does Marcelo Pete, because it's been an expensive one.
And that's pushed into the onside. They thought about the run, but...
Well, as I expected, an extra. No ball.
And no ball, yeah.
He overstepped. Marcelo Pete has struggled with this in this competition so far. He struggles with overstepping, and that one looked, even from here you could see he was far too close to the batter when he released it. You can sometimes tell in the action, and it's going to be a free hit. We'll have a look at the front foot here. He's well over. I suppose you can't tell from that angle, but in some ways it's just about how far the stumps are behind him as he releases the ball. It just doesn't look right to the eye. Having watched a lot of cricket, that looked like a no ball from the moment he bowled it. Free hit.
And it goes straight to mid-off for a single. So 14 for no wicket, the score after the first over, and Munster Reds very much in the driving seat here.
Well, I think a 5 over bash will be something they'll be pleased about, because 2 fielders in at the start, and with the new ball the ball will stay pretty new for the whole 5 overs, so they'll have the best of conditions. Now there is, like I said, a wet patch, or a couple of wet patches, and I think that might have been why we saw that really steep bounce on the first delivery. But both teams want to get the game played, so they're not making any noise about it. Andy
McBrien has a lot of decisions to make here as captain about what order he uses his bowlers, because each one can only bowl 1 over in this truncated reply, and it's the captain who's going to bowl the second over.
It's just about the experience and who you think can get the job done early on with the fielding restrictions. So McBrien feels he's the best man for the job. Stephen Doheney has called for the helmet for behind the stumps. Long on and mid wicket are the 2 fielders that are out, so you'll have to bowl a tight line, which we know he's well able to do, and this should be a good little battle.
Frost, who's made this great start with 13 off 7 deliveries. He's kept strike with that single off the final ball of the previous over, and it's McBride who'll be bowling to him from the pavilion end. In bright sunshine here in Oak Hill. That's swept round the corner, straight to backward square leg, but they scamper through for the single.
A good start from McBride. Changing the field for Kruger. He's going to bring long on and mid wicket inside the ring and drop long off and cover. It's a very unusual field, this, because we've just got 4 fielders on the offside. Third point are inside the ring, and then cover and long off are out. So there's a huge space on the offside with 5 fielders saving a single on the leg side. I don't think I've ever seen this field before in all my years watching cricket.
Yes, it is, Brad. He's changed his mind again. Well, there you go. He read your mind, is he? He just realised, oops. I think he wants 14 fielders. I think that's the,
I don't know if he
plan
thought it,
for Northwest
I don't know-
Warriors.
I think he might have thought that Kruger was left-handed. Yeah, because he's got the same field but for a right-hander.
Just a single to mid-off. And a chance of overthrows, but that's good backing up. So just one off that second delivery of the McBride over. And Kruger gets off the mark. So Frost, who plundered 14 off the first over, what can you do here against McBride? Almost carried back to the bowler.
Yeah. Just holds up a little bit sometimes on this pitch. Long on has come inside the ring and square leg has gone out because of that initial shot from Frost, the sweep shot.
Turns that straight to the man at backward square leg for a single. Good start to McBride's over. Just 3 singles coming from the first 4 deliveries. 36 needed to win. Just 20 balls remaining. Five on the offside, all inside the circle. Again, it goes straight to the fielder at backward square leg. McBride will be happy with singles.
Yeah, well, good plans. I mean, we spoke about the offside. All the fielders are saving a single. You have to be bowl straight, and the fact that 3 of the singles have gone to 45 shows you that he's done what he's been told.
Gone
It's
up
gone
in
high.
the air, and it's out. Caught at backward square leg. First wicket falls. The breakthrough from McBride on the last ball of the second over. And Ali Frost departs for 15. 18 for 1 then at the end of 2 overs. And the skipper has certainly halted that galloping start from the Munster Reds.
The fielder had been sent out because of Alistair Frost's first shot in that over, which was a sweep shot. He looked to lift it over the square leg fielder. It's a big boundary and just went too high in the end, didn't get the distance. So good catch taken in the deep, and Munster Reds lose their first. Frost goes for 15 and they're 18 for 1. Look at the angle of this swing now. Just going too high. Didn't come across the ball enough to get the legs to go over that fielder.
It's quite a deep boundary on that side. Nikolai Damgar is the one who's come in for the Munster Reds. Brandon Kruger on strike. And Ryan Macbeth will bowl the third over.
Well, we're outside the power play now because of it being a shortened game, so 5 fielders out at this point.
That squirts away off the splice of the bat into the deep cover area. Just a single for Kruger.
Well, we were discussing who would bowl the second over, and I think this explains why McBride bowled it, because now, because that over was quiet, Munster Reds are back behind the 8 ball. Now 5 fielders out. not as easy to score boundaries, but if anyone's going to hit a few maximums for them and get them on the front foot, it's Nikolai Damgaard, because he has a handy knack of hitting sixes.
Big levers, this man from Denmark. And that's cracked away into the gap in the covers, but the sweeper is out there, and just a single for Damgaard to get him off the mark.
Yeah, good bowling from Ryan Macbeth, because the main thing that you want to be careful of with Damgaard is that you don't want him able to hit straight back over your head. You cannot give him that length because he's so good down the ground. So he bowled that into the pitch, outside off, and forced Damgaard to bowl or to hit to the sweeper.
And that one's hit also into the mid-wicket area. And again, it's just a single. Good fielding by the Northwest Warriors. Every single or dot ball is like gold to them.
Just hasn't looked convincing, has he, Kruger? Hasn't hit it cleanly yet. The previous shot, not that one, but the other one that he played at the start of the over, the most unconvincing of the lot. I think he wanted to hit it into the leg side, and it somehow managed to squirt through cover.
Deep mid-wicket, deep mid-on for Damgaard. Has a swing. It's gone straight to the fielder and backward square leg for another single. Boundaries are bust for the Reds.
Absolutely. So that power play, they only got 2 overs of it. That's the big difference in the shortened game, because Northwest Warriors had 6 overs of power play, and they really made the Reds pay in that in that area of the game where only 2 fielders are allowed outside the ring.
Tried the paddle one, but it didn't come off, and it's through to keeper Doheny. So another valuable dot ball for the Warriors, who have to be the favourites in this situation. 31 required now of 14 deliveries. That's well over 200 striking rate.
Yeah, how it can change in just 1 over. 14 without loss after the first, and Munster Reds would have been feeling pretty good. A quiet over, 2 quiet overs since then.
That's a great ball from Macbeth, getting a lot of lift from this lively pitch here in Oak Hill. And at the end of his first over, just 4 runs coming from it. 22 for 1. At the end of the 3rd over of 5. And now that asking total of 31 of 12 remaining deliveries is looking a long way away.
Yeah, Brandon Kruger didn't look happy after that last delivery. He's struggling to find a way to score. Struggling to find a way to score a single, never mind 4s or 6s.
McBride is still bowling, so clearly it's not 1 over per bowler in this shortened, truncated game.
That must be, I would say, 2 overs for 1 bowler and then 3 for the other 3. Must be.
Oh, that's come off the bottom edge, I think. And just a single again for Damgaard. He moves to 3. Kruger stuck on 4 off just 6 deliveries. Having a player as experienced as McBride to bowl 2 of your 5 overs is so big in this context of a shortened game.
Absolutely, and I think his experience is shown there, because he took the pace right off that delivery. Kruger sweating on a 4 or a 6 is threw the shot far too early.
And the quicker ball, which was slightly down the leg side, but there was some contact made off the pad. Leg bye to the Reds. McBride, who has now bowled 9 deliveries for just 5 runs, has stopped the Munster Reds from making any inroads on this 53 target. There's a swing, and it's over everybody for a 6. That's just what the Reds needed.
Well, the target of 53, 2 or 3 6s, and this will begin to look a little bit different. He just shuffles across the offside. He knows that McBride will be trying to get him to play through the offside, so he changes the line, uses all of those long levers to get it over the fielder in the deep. A big hit from an important 6.
But they need plenty more. Just 8 balls remaining. It's amazing how quickly these 5 overs go by. 23 still required. Strike rate of approaching 300. And there's another one down the ground, but there's a man there. And it's just a single to Damgar this time.
Yeah, brilliant fielding in the deep. It came quickly at him, but he managed to get the turn and throw nice and quickly Trent McKeegan to keep that to a single and get the dangerous Damgar off strike.
So the last ball of McBride's second over. 22 needed off 7. And there's a swing and a miss, and I think that went through to the keeper, and he's walking. Yeah, in fact, he's been bowled. My apologies. I didn't see the wickets go down.
Yeah, that one's turned into the stumps. So a wild swing from Kruger. Wasn't the length to sweep and went inside in between the bat and pad, clipped the off stump, and he heard the death rattle. So the end of tough innings for Kruger. He goes for 4 from 9 deliveries, and with 4 overs out of 5 gone, the Munster Reds are 31 for 2.
So a very difficult prospect of scoring over 20 in the final over if they're to get the 4 points today. And it looks like it's going to be Marcelo Pete to bowl this 5th over. He went for 14 on his first over, but look at that. Runs to win, 22. Balls remaining, just 6.
Yeah, Oliver Metcalf is the new batter in. Surprised not to see Liam McCarthy out there at number 4.
There's the big hit down the ground. That looks like, well, it's actually gone up very high and it's caught. Damgar has to go. Another wicket for the Warriors, who are on the way to a victory here against the Munster Reds. 3 down now for 31. And surely this match is gone.
Oh, 2 fielders converging and a shout, an absolute shout of conviction there in the deep from Scott Macbeth, called long off out of it. He wanted every piece of that, and a good catch taken. Those ones never easy. It was a towering hit to dive in the end, so a really good catch to take the 3rd wicket.
And Pete does well, gets the breakthrough, and it's McCarthy who will come to the wicket at number 5 for the Reds, who need probably 3 6s and a 4 might just do it. Highly unlikely, but you never know.
Well, I think if I'd been in charge of Munster Reds, I would have opened with McCarthy and Damgard. Maybe one of them could have gone 3, but they're the 2 cleanest hitters in the Munster Reds lineup at the moment. McCarthy hit an incredible 46 last week in a 50 over game from about half the number of deliveries. It was brilliant to watch.
Snicks away for 4. That just about keeps them in the game, but they need 3 6s off the last 3 balls if they're to win this.
Well, if things are going your way, they're going your way. Liam McCarthy gets an inside edge past his stumps here in between the legs. In fact, he's nutmegged himself. And I don't think he meant that one. There are players who do that on purpose, but I'm not sure. I won't commit to saying he's not one of them, but it didn't look on purpose. 4 legal deliveries remaining in the over.
Big appeal, but he was well outside the off stump, and they'll get a couple here.
Yeah, excellent running. I think that between the bowler and the wicketkeeper, they both went for the ball. One of them needed to stay at the stumps. Probably Stephen Doheney, just to make it easier to get the run out, but a good outcome anyway. Only the 2 runs from it.
3 balls remaining, 16 required. 2 6s and a 4, or maybe a wide, you never know, or
No
no ball
ball.
might just help the Munster Reds cause.
I think we're a good shout for a no ball.
Straight back to the bowler, that won't do it. And with that, Marcelo Pete has probably given Munster Reds too much to do here.
Yeah, there was going to be one ball in the over that he just needed to get it right, one other ball other than the wicket, and then you just got to keep it between the lines and foot behind the line as well.
Straight to the fielder at mid-off. One delivery remaining. The points here will be going to the Northwest Warriors. Their second win in 6 matches in this year's competition. Later on today, it'll be the Northern Knights against Leinster Lightning up in Belfast. A match you can see live streamed later in the day. But here, the Northwest Warriors have got the victory almost for certain.
It
And
was
the
always going to
wide.
happen.
Well, wasn't it? They still need 14 though, with 1 ball remaining.
Just teasing us.
I'm surprised Pete doesn't shorten his run up and just put it, as you say, anywhere between the stumps.
Well, if you change your run up, you're actually more likely to bowl a wide. So just stick with what you know. Trust to your action.
There's one up in the air. It's not going to beat the fielder, and the catch is taken by McBride. The end of Metcalf and the end of this match. 5 overs. Munster Reds had a target of 53, but they've only managed to score in the 30s, and they have lost the game after the Northwest Warriors scored 136 for 5 in their 17.2 overs. Unfortunate probably for the team that loses a game like this, because it all depends on the target and so forth, and how that goes. It could have been their day. Munster Reds probably would have been happy chasing 53 in 5 overs, but they've come up short and they lose by 13 runs.
Yeah, you feel for the likes of Carson McCullough, who came on and bowled so well for the Munster Reds. 4 for 25 from him, but then the rain came, and unfortunately the way that it worked, after a couple of rain delays, the game was shortened quite quickly. 5 over bash. Well, I thought it was a good chance for the Munster Reds, especially when the first over went for 14, but then Andy McBride, he came on and just squashed any chances really for the Munster Reds. There you have the batting card.
Well, Frost made a good start, didn't he, with 15 off 11, and Damgar with 10 off 6, but never enough as they chased that total of 53 to win. And there's the bowling figures. McBride with a very good 2 for 12 off his 2 overs. Pete striking in his second over a couple of times. And the Warriors have this one. They win by 13 runs and move ahead of the Reds on the table. They go up to 10 points. The Reds stuck on 7. Later on today, the Northern Knights and Leinster Lightning will do battle in Belfast, and the Knights will be hoping that they can stop Leinster Lightning's march towards the title this year. On a nice sunny afternoon in Oak Hill, it only remains for me to say thank you very much for joining us on this stream from County Wicklow. Izzy and myself will be here again tomorrow for the 50 over match between these two sides, and we hope you can join us for that then. But for now, we leave you with that summary. Northwest Warriors winning by 13 runs on the DLS method.